welcome to another brand new episode here on Fs25 and Riverbend Springs. As you can see, we are just finishing off the sugar beet, and then we will be done that, thank goodness. So we just got the final couple of rows to do. Anyway, how are you all getting on? Hopefully you're all having a good day, and I can learn to speak between now and the end of the episode. It's going to be pretty helpful, I think you'll find. Yeah, so as I say, we're just finishing off yesterday's sugar beet from yesterday's episode, and then we'll skip to the morning, which will then be November. I think the carrots should be ready then, and then we'll get them in as well. But we've also got some cotton to finish off as well, so we'll be doing that as well. We've got the bales to collect and get to the coopers. No, because they make barrels. Get to the rope maker. Yeah, we'll get the cotton bales to the rope maker, and then we'll get them converted into rope, and hopefully, as I said before, we'll be able to get some toys made then. I don't know whether it is going to be literally that straightforward or whether we're going to have to do a lot more. But yeah, so you have to forgive me a little bit this morning. I'm still a little bit bunged up and a little bit croaky. So for those of you that have watched the channel for a little while will know that I enjoy going racing, and Saturday just passed. Today is Monday, so Saturday I went to Kings Lynn Racing and got absolutely covered in fine shale dust, and now it's made me very croaky. My chest is quite heavy. I've got a bit of a cough, and I'm very bunged up. But it was a good night. It was a very good night's racing. So yeah, it's pretty good. Hence the reason why with the sugar beet harvester I always empty it on the way down. A, so I don't drive in the crop because that's just not on, and B, so it doesn't become empty, come full. Sorry, you know, while it's coming up with its arm out in the crop. So yeah, that's why I've been doing it that way. Where on earth are you going? Well, that's just not that great at driving, really, mate. I've got to be honest. You're going to miss a bit there, aren't you? Oh, no. Alright, come on, tractor. Get underneath. I thought for a second I was going to get that lined up so terrible that he was actually going to stop, but thankfully we got there. Alright, we filled the back up. You can come forward now. There we go. So I haven't as of yet. So I thought yesterday I'd found a good map to replace this one with, but it turned, well, it's okay. I mean, the map works. It's kind of error free. There is one error in it, but it's a texture error. And as far as I could find, so I went over the whole map, did every single job the map had to offer, and I couldn't find the error. So it must be somewhere in the game files, but as I say, I couldn't find it. So it's definitely a possibility because it doesn't seem to ruin or to have any negative impact on on the actual sort of map and save or whatever. So it's definitely a possibility of something that we can do. But yeah, I've been looking around and say I've already had a couple of well, I think I've had at least one suggestion. I'm sure it's two suggestions I've had from people that, well, from someone that watches my videos and my channel, and it's just sort of a case of, you know, whether that's going to be possible. Like I said yesterday, there might not at this moment in time be the mods out for me to do what the first suggestion was, but I'll certainly be looking. You know, can I find stuff? You know, obviously, you know, the big important question for me is it error free? And you know, am I going to be sort of okay and safe to you know, to do a save on it? Because you know, the last thing I want is to you know, have a save, get going with a series on YouTube, and then for whatever reason, you know, the map stops working or whatever. I mean, for a map to stop working once you've got a save going, I've only ever had it happen once, and that was in 2009's FS. So I downloaded this map. I can't remember what the map name was called now, but I downloaded this map, and it was an absolute awesome map. And the map would load in, and that was fantastic. And then I would get roughly probably, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 hours into the map, and then the map just wouldn't load no more. Every time it loaded, it just loaded to a blank screen. And you know, at first I was like, kind of, I mean, I was new to FS at the time anyway, so the whole sort of concept of, I mean, it took me ages and ages and ages to figure out, you know, where mods went, how you put them in the game, and all of that good stuff. And yeah, as I say, I just kind of, I, I don't know why the map did what it did. I really don't, because, as I say, it would work, and then I would delete that save, start another save, and it would load first time, and you know, yet again you would then. Right, now there is a big chunk over in that corner. I like how he puts his flashing lights on to tell you to get out of the way. Let's just see if he goes down there and harvests that. It looks as if he's going to. It looks as if he's going to. So he left a big chunk in this corner. And I thought, well, that's not very good. Especially after I bigged him up and said, oh, he always go back and get it. And I was like, well, he's left that. But it looks as if he is going to go back for it, which is pretty cool. You know, the fact that it sort of recognises that it left it and is now going, yeah, it's now going back for it. That's pretty good, that. I'm quite impressed. It's not a huge bit here. It's just the gauze that he cut off to come through straight, which is how I would have done it. So to be fair to, you know, the GPS and the hired worker, that's exactly how I would have done it. The only difference is I would have gone back that side then, and then just took that corner out, that triangle out, and then carried on across the field. Whereas obviously he's decided, well, I'll leave that. You know, I remember. So I didn't get to go on the combine all that often. I was like a floater combine driver. So I said before, we had 3 combines on the farm, 3 770 Lexians, and the main 2 combines had set drivers. So Gary drove one, and Shane drove the other one, right? And the next one was, the third one was a floater, so it could be that one day I went on it. So we always had 3 combines running, but they weren't necessarily always the same people driving the third one. So this particular day it gets to work. James, you're on the combine today. So I was like, okay. He said, like, you know, Zach's not in, you're on the combine, so you know, fair enough. So went on the combine, and it was a day when I had quite a few disasters. So it was about the first disaster happened at about 11:30, sort of 20 to 12. So just before dinner, right? Just before my dinner, right? So I've got my dinner all set out on me passenger seat, right? Because obviously you eat on the move, and I had as I say, I had my dinner set out, and I'd just gone into a new field, and I thought what I'll do is I'll get the headland off this field, and then I'll sit and eat my lunch, while I'm going up and down, sort of thing. Like, there's sort of no problem. So I was getting the headland off, and I was on. I think I can't remember if I was on the last breed or if I was on the one before, like the breed before the last breed. But anyway, so going along this really big wooded area. So the other day I told about us seeing some big cats. So I was in that field, all right, and I was going along the wooded area, right, and ever since, because that had happened before I was in there with the combine. It might have been the summer after I was in there in the winter. I can't remember that, but it might well have been. I didn't go to that field actually all that often. I think in the sort of however long, I can't remember now exactly how long I worked there, but yeah, but I probably only went there like 3 or 4 times, which is not very often, because there are some fields that I'd seem to be in every bloody time I was at work, And anyway, I was going along the wooded area, and this fox ran out of a foxhole that, for some reason, he'd built in the field, not in the woods. I don't, unless it was because of those two black cats, I don't know. But he'd built it just in the field, and of course, as he ran out, I went over it, and of course, he got sucked into the header reel, because it jammed, and oh no, I had the header reel up quite high, because we had some the crop, for some reason, in that corner always grew quite tall, and so I had my reel up, so there was quite a big gap, because normally you wouldn't have the reel up as high as what I had it, but there was quite a biggish gap, if I remember. I think I'm remembering this correctly. Anyway, this fox came out and basically ran into the front of my combine, and it's just before lunch, and I get out, and it's all this, like, well, I mean, it wasn't fully dead. That's the first thing, but it was quite mangled. And so I was kind of like, oh dear, that's not pleasant. I thought, what the hell am I gonna do? And I was thinking, I don't really want to be touching it. I obviously haven't really got anything to kill it. I haven't, I thought, what do I do? My head was like, just turn the combine on, let the combine finish it. And I was like, you can't really do that. I might damage the combine, as it is at the moment. I think the combine's fine. But anyway, I got on the CB, and one of the tractor and trailer drivers came over, and he said, that's no worry. He said, like, leave it to me. He said, but I ain't getting it out. So I was like, no. He said, no. He said, I ain't getting it out. He said, but I'll, he said, we got to kill it. He said, like, he said, look at it. He said, like, one of its legs is over there. Yeah, I said, I said, I can't do it. He said, I'll do it. He said, it's all right, don't worry. So anyway, he he did the honours, and yeah, and then I had to pull this bloody fox out of me, out of me, combine. Anyway, get that done. Didn't eat my lunch for a few hours. I think it was about 3 o'clock when I eventually sort of succumbed to hunger and thought, no, I'm going to have to eat something. But I just sort of couldn't get that image out of my head. Anyway, later on in that field, right, it had a triangle. It had like what was left that side of the field, right? So I thought to myself, oh, what I'll do is I'll cut through, go straight like the sugar beet helper worker did. I thought, and then I'll cut the rest of the field, and then I'll just go back for that bit. Because you know, I thought like I can just go back to it. I thought it'll be easier to do that than to keep messing about now, you know, while sort of get anyway. So that's what I decided. That was my plan. I justified that plan in my head, and that was what I was doing. And anyway, combine the field. Whilst combining the field, you know, boss man gets in touch. You go into that field next. I've changed my mind. Okay, fair enough. So you could get out of the field I was in at either end of the field. So the end that I'd left the crop, I was gonna, you know, take the crop off that end and then go out that end, because it was going to lead down to a field that I was due to go next, sort of thing. Like, so it was, you know, I was like, yeah, we'll go. You know, that's what I'll do. I've got to come back this way because the end, you know, the field got changed, and so I had to go out the other end then, and go down the. Whoa! I don't know why it lags so badly just there. Don't know. It's just that little tiny bit there, and then the rest of it's fine. But yeah, so having changed ends, well, of course, I left this big triangle, and that was probably like mid-August. And then I remember because we used to write down everything that our trailers had in off every field, so we knew what fields had yielded what. And Adrian said, "Coy," he said the yield was down on that field up near the woods. I can't remember what the name of the field was because the field had a name, not a number, and I can't remember what it was. And I said, "Oh, was it?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Like," he said, "not even just a little bit down, like, you know." He said it was like, you know, significantly down. And I said, "Well," I said, "it looked all right when I was harvesting it." I said, "Like, you know, it's good canvas." I said, "You know, it's good covering." And I said, like, you know, I said, "Oh, surprised me that," and because it never occurred to me. Anyway, mid-September come, and one of the lads is in the Challenger going to cultivate that field, and they get to the field, and of course there's a massive, there's probably like sort of, I don't know, 3 or 4 acres worth of wheat just standing. And yeah, Adrian got in touch with me and said, "You know that field?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Did you leave any in there?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." I said, "I think I got it all." And he said, "Oh," he said, "only," he said, "you know the wood end?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "You know where the gauze is?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You've left the whole gauze on both sides." I was like, "Have I?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh." He goes, "That explains why the yield was considerably down." So they went back and they finished it. I think sort of it worked. You know, I think it was okay. I don't think they'd lost much, but yeah, they had to get a combine sort of back out in action again because the combines had sort of not been put away, but the combines were stood down because obviously we were finished combining, but we used to leave them sort of out and ready to go, mainly in case neighbours, you know, sort of got a bit stuck or whatever and needed a hand. So yeah, but I left a nice big chunk of crop unharvested, and yeah, and I'd done that before. I'd done that with like cultivating and stuff, where I'd sort of gone through. Thankfully, I never did it with drilling. When I was drilling, I always used to. What was out late today? Must want a word. I'm not interested. All right, we'll get the next day in, and then we'll rent a cotton trailer to what was it? The sheep barn. Fair enough. We've got all this wood to sell as well, but I'm not going to do it now. We're going to we are going to get a tractor if we can find one. There's one. We won't take the Massey Ferguson. I do try to, if I can, sort of evenly share the workload between all the tractors, because there's no point having 3 or 4 tractors if none of them, you know, if most of them are not going to get worked, you know, there's no point. But yeah, anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a cotton trailer. We're going to go and get those couple of bales off that field. We're going to then take them to the rope makers, get that production going, and then I've got a feeling the other cotton field now will be ready. So then we'll go to the cotton harvester and we'll crack on with that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that won't take the rest of this episode. I'm not teaching you anything you don't already know. This is an episode, not a lesson. And that's I think that's come from the fact that I'm due to go into Norwich University this afternoon, so I'm doing a writing. It's a writing masterclass apparently. Wow, it's pity we're not keeping going because that's the next things I wanted to buy. That is, but and I'd probably maybe possibly buy the 7R as well. Right. Anyway, we need a cotton trailer. Yeah, so I've got to go in there and I've got to do that. Trying at the moment to unsuccessfully. I'm gonna very hastenly add. I'm trying to get publishers interested in a book / story that I've written, and it's just whether or not they'll go for it. But the Norwich University, I'm doing a course there at the moment, but I'm using what I've written as my sort of coursework, if you see what I mean, so that it's getting sort of, you know, marked and checked and getting exposure, which is a big change for me because I don't normally like people to read what I've written because I'm always frightened that, well, the first thing is everyone goes, oh, that's really good, that's fantastic, that is, oh, that's brilliant, yeah, well done you, and I think, are you patronising me or are you actually saying well done? So therefore I've just kind of, you know, I write stuff, you know, it gets put in the in the storage box with all my other stories, and then I just go on to write the next one. But this one I've decided that I do actually want people to actually look at and read, because I would like to know whether or not it is worthy of being published, or whether it's got a chance of being published. Now then, is this the cotton field? No, it's the next one. But yeah, so anyway, we'll get this done, and then I also think that the carrots will be ready to harvest as well then, so, and then we'll get on with the carrots as well. So but we'll say we've got this to do, and we've got the cotton to do, and then we've got the carrots to do. So this is one of the first ever times I've done cotton in Farming Simulator. I don't normally do it. I just never seem to, I don't know, just that and sugarcane I just never seem to get round to. But anyway, we've had a go now, so as I say, we'll get the other one done, we'll get that collected as well at the same time, and then we'll be in a really good position. Right, I got to remember where it is now. Let's have a look on here. I think it's that one there. Oh no, where the hell am I off? Right. See, I told you I could get lost really easily, even when I'm looking at a map. Right, let's do all what we said. So I'll see you in a little bit. Yeah, this is right. We just need to make sure that cotton is selected, otherwise it will just sell it. Well, we do have some rope there already. Excuse me. Alright, let's just make sure cotton is selected. Yeah, we do have some rope there. Right. That's from wool. Activate that. So we need to bring wool here, and we need to bring, we've got cotton, and we'll have more cotton coming, so we'll be okay. But we have got some rope there, so next time we're on a selling run, which we will do again in the save, next time we're on a selling run, we'll collect that and deliver it to where it needs to be. I think this is how you would unload this. Yep. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to some time lapse, and I'll see you all in a little bit. Bye for now.
So I'm back. Boy, has this been hard work and extremely frustrating. Uh, I must admit there was a point there where we were going around the headlands, and that's when I decided I've decided that I'm probably going to edit all of that out because I did record it, but I thought, well, it looks awful. So I've sort of decided that, as I say, I'm going to edit all of that out, and we'll just go back to doing the up and down bits. But yeah, so it was. It's been challenging to say the very least. But actually, once you get going on the up and down rows, it's actually not too bad. It's okay. And that bit there where it's still running off the machine and what have you, I was kind of thinking to myself that I was wasting carrots, but you're not. So I've got a feeling that harvester, if the trailer's not there and they're running onto the floor, it allows the carrots to visually run onto the floor, but the next time you come under, so I've not quite got myself in the right position now, because I had the trailer there and then didn't, that I will actually waste those. It doesn't hold those. But when it wants to turn, and when it does its little bits and pieces on the ends of the field, and it's still harvesting and picking up carrots, although you see them visually come out off the belt and onto the floor, you don't actually lose those carrots. It holds the number that it was. So say if it was 1,000 litres, just say, it holds the number. Then when you come under next time, it mixes that 1,000 litres in with what's sort of emptying as well, because that's what I think. And I'm going to be interested to see what we do eventually get off this field, because the prediction was for 256,000 litres. Now, in theory, we will fill the canning factory before we finish this field, because that canning factory, I think, holds 230,000 litres of carrots. I think it is. I'm pretty certain that's what it is. So I think, in theory, we shouldn't get all of this field in that in the canning factory. Now, if we don't, I'm in a little bit of trouble because I can't store them on the ground. And not only that, but I can't also store them in the silo because the silo is not multi-fruit. Now, I have obviously done a video where on Calmsden Farm I showed everyone how to make Calmsden silos so that they were multi-fruit and they would hold everything. So my friend Chris, who lives in the same village as me, I saw him one Saturday in the butchers and in the village, and he said to me, he said, like, oh, I'm playing Calmsden Farm at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. He said, but he said it is a bit of a pain in the backside because the silo won't hold all the fruits, and so therefore, he said it's kind of spoiling my game a little bit. And I said to him, I said that's really easy to make it. Accept all the fruits, and so I did a little sort of how-to video probably a couple of months ago now, when Calmsden first came out, on how to make the silo on Calmsden multi-fruit, so as it will take all of the fruits and all of the different things on the map into the silo. But then I also showed you how to get the silo to unload all of those crops into your trailer so that you can sell them then. So yeah, go check that one out if you're interested. But so I could do it on this map, but I probably won't, just because we are sort of coming to the end. If it is such a thing as we can no longer put them in the canning factory, I will just sell them direct and take whatever money I can get for them. So all won't be lost. But yeah, so. And then we had another disaster with a Massey Ferguson on the way to the canning factory. So because he turns too bloody quickly. I can't get my trailer out of the way. I think each tractor had done one trailer load each, and off camera they'd both been going to and from while I was filling up the other tractor. The other tractor and trailer was going to the canning factory, going to and from, absolutely no problem at all. Second I pressed record, the Massey Ferguson got caught on that exit bit there to get onto the main road, and then it was like, but I've done a trailer each with you two, and I've not had one issue. And now that I'm recording, it's like, now I've got issue again. So it's really frustrating when that happens. But it's amazing the amount of times I can do stuff before I record just to make sure that it is going to work, and that it doesn't look awful or anything. And it's like, yeah, that's working a treat. That's absolutely fine. It's done it 3 times now. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm hoping. So therefore, we'll sort of crack on. And then what what happens is that as soon as I press record, the amount of times then it just all starts going wrong, and I have sort of, and I just think, oh, that's just sod's law coming into it again. But never mind. Anyway, as I say, we won't be long before we finish this field. But when we come back next time, we'll be up on those bigger fields where we've been harvesting cotton today. So as you also saw, we got that done today. We've got them in the rope makers as well, so that's good. And obviously that means that we should, over the next day or two, have quite a bit of rope coming in, which is really good. And then we'll be able to go from there. Right, we might as well send this young man. And I've got to say, actually, he's coped with this trailer far better than what those other 2 tractors have. But as I say, we'll send him. We'll get him gone, and then we will see what the next trailer fall brings. But when that does go quite well, that really does go quite well, and that's actually quite enjoyable to do it that way. It's just obviously when it doesn't go quite so well, but there we go. Teething problems, these things, and everything, and all of that, these things sent to triers and all of that good stuff. So it's not too bad. Anyway, we'll send him off. That might have been a bit of a mistake, actually, because I think the other one's now coming back. So we'll see. They'll probably, yeah, there he is. Are they going to make it? Yeah, he's waited. He's turned off. Well, I'm very impressed. Oh, I'm not so impressed. Where's he going? I was nearly impressed. And I do mean nearly. Anyway, the other thing as well is we had a bit of a disaster getting the tractors here, didn't we? Because just as I went over the crossing with the harvester, the bleeding train came, and the Massey got caught up on the railing. So that was. I just managed to look back in time. I thought, oh, we'll have a look at that. That'll be fun. So yeah, but anyway, as I say, we're getting on quite good here now. These 3 tractors and trailers are essential. I'm not sure. I don't know whether you would be able to. Well, we'll see. Because by the time this trailer gets full, I'll see whether or not the John Deere gets back with the empty trailer. He should be able to tip okay. Because what's that, 3? So that's 30,000. That's 60. So that's 30, 60, 90. So no, yeah. So he should still be able to tip all of his trailer. That should still be fine. And we'll see what happens. But like I say, once you're going up and down the main part of the field, this works a treat. and when the trailer's full, if you're going along if you're going along like this now, and this trailer was to suddenly fill, that harvester doesn't know to stop. And so it's really good. It's not too bad. You just need a lot of patience with it, and as I say, I was sort of off camera because obviously I stopped recording because it just, as I say, looked awful, and that took about an hour and probably about hour and 30 minutes, something like that, to get it sorted, so that until we were going up and down, even though I told it not to do the headlands, it insisted on doing the headlands, and it was the headlands that were causing all of the problems. But because I couldn't set it to 0, or I think I was going to set it to 2, just to make sure that I did actually catch it, but yeah, I couldn't do that in the end. And as I say, it was the headlands that caused all of the issues for me. But not to worry. As I say, we're going now, and it is actually quite nice to do it this way. I know we wouldn't be riding in the crop, and if when we get course play up and running properly, because I'm having a few issues with course play, once I get that up and running properly, then this sort of thing won't be happening, because I'll have it set on lands so that the unloading conveyor is always on what we've harvested and not on the actual crop. But for now, this is a sort of mend and make do way of doing it. So we just sort of do it like this. But yeah, it's been quite good. As I say, it's once it's settled down, it's quite enjoyable doing this. I find, I find this quite therapeutic farming. I do, just riding alongside, because as I say, if I'd have been at work, certainly on the carrots and stuff, I was always on the tractor and trailer, and I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. Or if we were selling direct, which sometimes they did, so then my tractor would have the overloader on the back, and then I'd run alongside overload and then drive to the end of the field, where there would be lorries on the end of the field waiting, and then I'd literally just load the overloader into the lorry, and then the lorry would go off then to the factory, whether it be our factory or whether it would be another factory that we'd contracted the work to. If we had so our factory was able to process most veg that came in, from sort of lettuces, cauliflowers, broccoli, Brussels, onions, carrots, parsnips, and leeks. But what would happen is if we were sort of busy in the carrots and busy in something else, and the factory was unable to process 2, 3, 4 things at the same time. So if we were processing an order for, say, so in the winter months, Brussels, then the carrots we would subcontract them out to a factory not so far down the road from where we were, that did have slightly better facilities. I mean, that's different now, because the farm where I worked, the factory is now able to cope with all of the veg that they can harvest at any one time. So when I first joined, the factory had just been made. There was 2 factories. There was one for veg, and then there was a separate one for the potatoes, which they did process and package and everything themselves. But yeah, so as I say, it might get to the point where I would then just feel the lorries on the end of the field, and then that way, they only really needed to be 2 lorry drivers. Well, I think there was 3 lorry drivers, me and the harvester driver, um, and that's what we would do. And then if we got any adverse weather, we would harvest the carrots in the daytime. But we didn't do that if we didn't have to. So the plan was always to harvest the carrots at night, but sometimes you know, if the weather wasn't suitable or whatever, and we were getting a bit pushed, we would then just run the carrot harvester 24 hours a day. But but as I say, I think most of the time it was just done overnight, and it was done with a tractor and trailed harvester, whereas now they do have a self-propelled harvester to do it. So that again, that's been improved, and now they don't use tractors and trailers at all. So yeah, so had this Massey Ferguson not got stuck, we would have been able to have just coped with 2 trailers. So that's fine. But I just thought I'd bring the John Deere in just to help us out, because otherwise we were going to be sat again for ages until they got back. So as I say, it's only on hire. Most of this, actually, to be fair, is on hire, and then we'll send it back and get rid of it. But yeah, there we go. As I say, this field's nearly done now. I've had to slow down time because I'm a bit worried that we might not be able to. I haven't looked at the calendar. We might not be able to harvest carrots in December, in which case we will then lose 3 or 4 fields up there. Let's have a quick look. Calendar, carrots, November. So you don't really want to be planting them in July then. You want to be down here, and then you'll get all of that then available. We are in the last month, so yeah, I did the right thing in virtually slowing the time down to 0. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to see in real life. We would be harvesting carrots in December, January, and sometimes February. So in real life, you can harvest those months, but with farming sim, you clearly can't. But yeah, so many a sort of December and February, and anywhere in that period, we'd be harvesting carrots. The early carrots would be, so our baby carrots would come up in usually about October, late October, November time. And then we'd go we'd basically go from there. So but anyway, I am going to leave this episode here just because as I say, we've got ourselves in a decent position. Next time when you come back, hopefully we will still be carrot harvesting, and we'll probably be getting more near towards selling the carrots direct, because the canning factory will be full. But yeah, so thanks ever so much for watching. If you haven't done already, please don't forget to subscribe. It really does help the channel. And I'll thank you all for watching. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode tomorrow. See you again. Bye for now.